In this lesson, we will learn about network security group inbound rules. First, we will learn about processing inbound rules and inbound rule evaluation. Then we will go into the detail of inbound processing order between subnet and NIC. After that, we will practice with configuring inbound rules. Finally, we will conclude our lesson with the review questions. To understand how Azure Network Security Group processes inbound rules, let's analyze this inbound rule table coming from this network security group attached to the network interface of the VM MAZ-PDC01. As you can see, each NSG inbound rule is assigned with a priority number arranged in the ascending order from the lowest to the highest. NSG rules are processed from top to bottom in sequential order. Therefore, the rule with the lowest priority will be processed first. If a network traffic is matched with a security rule, it will be either allowed or denied by that rule, and the traffic will not be processed by any other rules below that rule. Any network security group comes with the default inbound rules with the priority from 6500 to 65500, and we can configure the security rules with the priority from 100 to 4096. NSG rules are stateful, meaning if an inbound rule allows traffic on specific port, the corresponding outbound traffic on that same port is automatically allowed. Now let's analyze the detail. As you can see, the first rule is to allow the RDP protocol from the VM with the IP 10.0.1.4, which is the file server, to any destination. And the NSG is attached to the network interface of the VM MAZ-PDC01, which means from the file server, if we RDP to the DC server, then the traffic will match with the first rule and it is allowed. And because the NSG rule is stateful, so the return traffic from MAZ-PDC01 back to the file server is also allowed. And because the traffic match with the first rule and it is allowed, so NSG does not process any other rules below that first rule. Now from the vault server configured with the IP 10.0.0.5, we try to RDP to the DC server. In this case, the RDP traffic does not match with the first rule because the source now is different. So NSG will skip the first rule and proceed to the next rule, and the traffic match to the next rule because we configure it to match with any traffic. And the action is to deny, which means NSG will drop the RDP traffic from the vault to the DC server, which means from the vault, we cannot RDP to the DC server, even though they are in the same production subnet. To configure inbound rules correctly, we need to understand inbound rule evaluation. As you know, an inbound rule is evaluated only if the destination matches the scope of the NSG association. If the NSG is associated with a NIC, then the destination IP in the rule must match the NIC's private IP. If the NSG is associated with a subnet, then the destination IP or range must fall within the subnet's address space. Let's learn about the inbound processing order between subnet and network interface. When a network packet destines to a destination IP in a subnet, it will be processed by NSG rules attached to the subnet first. If the result is denied, then the packet will be dropped. If the result is allowed, then the packet will go through and reach the network interface of the VM in the subnet. When the network packet reaches the network interface of the VM in the subnet, it will be processed by the NSG rules attached to the network interface. If the result is denied, then the package will be dropped. If the result is allowed, then the package will go through. Let's create an NSG name prod-etnes-nsg01 with a rule to stop all traffic from VM dev subnet to VM prod subnet and associate it with the VM prod subnet. After that, we will add a new rule to allow MAZDFS01 to RDP to all the VMs in the VM prod subnet. To create a new network security group, let's click on Network Security Groups, then click on Create. Then we select the resource group infrastructure, and in the name we type in the name prod-etnes-nsg01, then click Next, then click Review and Create. And when the validation passed, we click on Create. It takes several minutes for it to create a new network security group, and that's it. To create a new security rule to stop all the traffic from VM dev subnet to VM production subnet, we need to click on Inbound Security Rules, and we click Add. To make it simple, we will accept all the default options, which means the source is any and the source port range is any and the destination is also any and the service is custom. And we will type in store in the destination port range to make it any port. And in the protocol, we accept the default, which is any, and then we change the action to deny, and in the priority let's change it to 5,000. As you can see, it says that the priority must be between 100 and 4096, so we change this to 4096. Then in the name we change this to deny all inbound traffic, then click on the add button, and that's it. Before associating the NSG with the production subnet, let's check the connectivity from the file server to the VMs in the production subnet. To do that, we open the command prompt and ping the IP address of the DC server, and as you can see, it responds. Now let's ping the IP address of the Vault server, and it is responding. To associate the production subnet NSG to the production subnet, we need to open it and click on the subnet and click on associate. Let's close this notification. As you can see, to associate the production subnet to the production NSG, we just need to select the virtual network and select the production subnet, then click on the OK button, and it's saving the subnet, and that's it. Let's verify the connectivity from the file server in the dev subnet to the servers in the production subnet. To do that, from the file server, we will ping the IP address of the DC server. As you can see, it is not responding. Next, let's ping the IP address of the Vault server, and it is not responding either. Next, we will open the remote desktop connection, and we will RDP to the Vault server. So we click connect. As you can see, it is not able to connect. Let's try it with the DC server. So here we change it to .4, and it is not connecting either. Now let's create a new security rule to allow the RDP traffic from the file server in the dev subnet to any servers in the production subnet. To do that, we need to click Add. Then in the source, we change it to IP addresses. And in the source IP addresses, we type in the IP address of the file server. And in the service, we change this to RDP. Then we scroll down and the action is allow, which is good. So in the priority, we type in 100 and click Add. That's it. Now from the file server, let's ping the Vault server. So we ping 10.0.0.5. As you can see, it is not pingable. Let's ping the IP address of the DC server 10.0.0.4, and it is not pingable either. Now let's verify the IP address of the file server, IP configure. As you can see, it is 10.0.1.4, which is correct. The reason it is not pingable because we only allow the RDP traffic. Now let's open the remote desktop connection and we connect to the DC server. And here we just type in the password of the ITL admin, then click OK and click yes. As you can see, we can RDP to the DC server. Now let's remote to the Vault server. And we just need to type in the password of the ITL admin account and click yes. As you can see, we can also connect to the Vault server from the file server. Let's analyze this deny all inbound traffic security rule. In this rule, we configure it to deny the traffic from any sources on any ports and any protocols to any destinations. And we associate it to the production subnet, which means the rule not only blocks the incoming traffic from the dev subnet, but from any subnets, even the traffic originated within the production subnet to any VMs in the production subnet, which is not the requirement. To make the NSG only blocks the traffic from the dev subnet, all I need to do is to modify the security rule to include the source IP from the dev subnet. That's it. Now let's click on the subnets. As you can see, we associated the NSG to the VM production subnet, which means the NSG will block the traffic from the dev subnet to the production subnet with that security rule. Now let's click on effective security rule. Here we can check the effective security rules on any virtual machine. Let's select the production DC MAZ PDC01. As you can see, currently there is only one NSG applied to this VM, which is Prot SNet NSG01. Let's click on it. And here are all the inbound and outbound security rules applied to the VM. Let's conclude our lesson with the review questions.